Hey, thanks for coming.
Hey, good to be here.
So, today I wanted to ask you a little bit about anxiety disorders. Now, you have an anxiety disorder, don't you?
Yes, I do.
What's that like? Does it interfere with your daily life much?
Oh, most definitely. Mine's mostly like a panic disorder, where if I get like in a strange environment, or if I get lost, or if I'm like performing in front of people, or if I'm like doing something that's very challenging, a lot of times I can have like a really bad panic attack.
Okay, so what are your triggers? I mean, I noticed you said people in public, but are there any specific ones?
Yeah, basically some of the triggers are being late, getting lost, basically feeling out of control.
So what do you do to cope with it? What are your treatments?
Several treatments. At time I am doing some basic medical treatments as far as taking medicine that addresses depression and anxiety. I do an exercise 3 times a week. I set up my environments to better cope. In other words, I don't wait till the last minute to get gas. I have a navigation system that I always know where I'm going and where I'm at. If I have to perform in public, or if I speak in public, basically I prepare myself for it. You know, I'm not caught off guard. So I have to, just basically prepare myself.
Does anybody else in your family have anxiety?
Yes, my mother had anxiety. Some of my children have anxiety issues. I think a lot of people have anxiety issues. It's just never really been on the forefront of, medical treatment until, today.
What do you think when you hear about soldiers who have post-traumatic stress disorders and these anxiety disorders? Do you think they can be better served?
Oh, I'm sure they can. It's very common. Anytime that you would go and serve our country and do what our soldiers do, I'm sure you are exposed to so much stress. And I'm sure we could treat it better with medical and professional help, counseling, learning how to cope back into the environment, learning how to understand your environment. We have so many technologies now, and a lot of the technologies we have can be used to help individual anxiety disorders.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, thanks for speaking with me today.
Hi, you're welcome.
So you have an anxiety disorder. What's that like for you?
It's very stressful at times. It just depends on what situation I'm in.
How does it differ from other people's everyday life?
Mine really is when I'm in a big crowd of people. I came from a controlled environment. I was incarcerated for 18 months, and I was in a really controlled environment where our every move, we were taught where to go, taught when to move, basically. So we were basically on a strict routine, and becoming back out into the community, it was hard for me to readjust to be in a big crowd. Going to the grocery store was very overwhelming for me.
So what do you do to treat it now that you are back in society?
I do see a psychologist once a month, and then if I do feel like an attack coming on, I go and I'm by myself. And I just calm down. And once I feel like that I can go into the crowd, I'm okay. What really triggers is if I'm by myself and I go into a big crowd. But if I'm with someone and it's a small crowd and the crowd eventually gets bigger, I'm okay.
Do you have to take any medications for your anxiety?
I did when I first came home, but now I'm off all medication.
So, is there anything that helps, a particular place or a particular thing? I mean, I know you said you have an animal, a cat, so does he help?
He does. Actually, if I just sit on the couch and it's just him and I do like some breathing techniques, or if I've had a real stressful day, if I just come home and just relax with him, it helps a great deal because, he's there to listen, but he can't necessarily talk back.
So, how would you describe to somebody who's never had an anxiety problem what it's like to go through one of these attacks?
For me, myself, my attacks, they make me feel like an elephant is sitting on my chest. Like I can't breathe, like the room is closing in on me. Especially if I'm in a crowd of people, I feel like everybody's zoned in on me and everybody's looking at me like something's wrong.
Does anybody else in your family have anxiety problems?
Yes, I believe some of my grandparents, my mother, my sisters.
So, do you think anxiety problems are more common than people let on, or?
I think they're more a part of an everyday problem than most people want to admit. A lot of people don't like to admit they have anxiety issues, but I think it's just something that's a part of life.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.